latest Cuisine tasting was a red wine tasting based on what the wine trade generally calls Bordeaux blends, and these are wines that are based on two of the great grape varieties that are grown in Bordeaux in France. They are Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. The tasting was very interesting, and we came to it with a mixture of anticipation and perhaps apprehension, because a couple of the vintages that we were going to see represented were 2011 and 2012. Now, the Bordeaux varieties in New Zealand, generally, if you were to think of their heartland, it would be Hawke's Bay on the North Island. And Hawke's Bay in 2011 and 2012 had two very wet vintages. And in wet vintages, wet conditions present problems in the vineyard. So we were expecting that we might see some wines that were a little bit lean and a little bit diluted, but in reality we had quite a lot of surprises, particularly from the 11 vintage, where there were some very good wines indeed, and also some very good values to be had. So the vineyards, it seemed to us, that had spent a lot of time in the vineyard actually nurturing their crops and doing all the right things to get the best out of them, did quite well in the 2011 vintage. So it's not a vintage to ignore. The 2012s, we didn't have a lot of 2012s that presented themselves, and I think probably we're waiting for a lot of those wines to still appear on the market. So the jury is going to be out for a while on those. Interestingly, a couple of the wines that were presented in the tasting that impressed us greatly were from other vintages, older vintages, which were 2010, 2009. The wine of the tasting was a Hawke's Bay Merlot Cabernet blend from the Esk Valley vineyard, which is interesting. Esk Valley occupies a very sunny little amphitheatre not far from the coast, a lovely old winery with a lovely hillside vineyard up above it, and the wine that we got from that really reflected the winemaker Gordon Russell's obsession with the vineyard and his obsession with getting the best fruit out of that. And that was a 2010 wine, which was just delicious, really lovely, rich, smooth, velvety style, well worthy of Cuisine's best wine accolade. Looking for a dish to accompany this Esk Valley wine, I wouldn't look any further than lamb, and generations of New Zealanders have prospered on a diet of roast lamb, and I think that's probably where we should go for this wine. A lovely roast lamb, lovely glass of Esk Valley, fantastic.